Hi everyone, Archmagus Faraston here, and today in Solasta I'd like to show you all the crafting system. So at this time Solasta is still in the early access phase. It's certainly not a finished product, but if we go to our inventory and then crafting, you can see that our party has a number of different items that they can produce now. So as you go throughout the world, you'll come across books, and these books will teach you how to produce different items. So the first thing I'd like to look at is herbalism. So in order to craft a potion, you will need a herbalism kit, which you can see here. Quite often you'll start out with this kit, or you will be able to buy one from the general store. The same goes for other professions, such as enchanting items. You'll need a Manacalon rosary. When the game first came out, I couldn't find this anywhere, but since the latest update, they are quite easy to come by now. You're able to buy them. And we also have thieves' tools. Again, your rogue character will start out with this. And a new one which is projectile parts, which basically lets you produce arrows and crossbow bolts. So as I was saying, you will need to find some books. So here I've got one, Crafting the Long Night. So if we right click and then read, and this will teach you how to produce that item, and your whole party will be able to produce that, not just that one character. As you go throughout your journeys, you'll come across these primed weapons. So here we've got the primed Morning Star, a primed rapier, primed great axe, primed greatsword, and so on. And you'll also come across certain items. So here we've got the diamond of Eli, we've got oil of acuteness, and so on. And when we come back to crafting, so you'll see here that as long as you've got a Manacalon rosary and you've got the necessary skills to produce it, you can produce some really cool things. So the first one I want to show you is the battle axe of acuteness. So 1d8 plus 1, and you can see you need a primed battle axe and oil of acuteness, and the crafting difficulty is easy. There is also armor, but since I don't have the necessary items to produce them, I can't really show too much more. The other one I'd like to show is the Frostburn dagger, which looks really cool. It's 1d4 plus 1d8 frost damage. Another good one is the Lightbringer greatsword. So that's a 2d6 damage plus 1d8. So that's extremely powerful. Then we've got the Doomblade greatsword. It's 2d6 and it inflicts Doomblade cut. So plus 1d4 damage, and creatures take 1d6 necrotic damage at the beginning of its turn. Greatsword of acuteness, 2d6 plus 1. Then we've got the Frostburn longsword, 1d8 plus 1d8 frost damage. Warden Blade, plus 1 to AC, and it lets you cast Spirit Guardians, and it's a 1d8. We have the Doomblade Rapier, it's 1d8 and it inflicts Doomblade cut, so creatures take a 1d6 necrotic damage and the reoccurring effect is 1d4. There's the Scimitar of Acuteness. Again, these weapons of acuteness are basically all plus 1 damage and they're easy to produce, as you can see here. Same with the short bow, it's 1d6 plus 1 and it's easy to produce. And of course the short sword of acuteness, again 1d6 plus 1. So that's the weapons and armor. Unfortunately I don't have the primed plate or shard of fire or shard of ice. I would have loved to have shown you the stats of these armor suits, but I'm sure that'll come later in the game. When it comes to poison, however, you will be able to produce a whole host of different poisons. I'm not going to go through them all. There's a lot of them, really a lot. I was surprised, but I can highly recommend that you produce poisoned arrows and crossbow bolts, because it will really increase your damage and it can help you out in a fight. And we have of course scrolls. So just as an example here, we've got the scroll of cure wounds, so you need one blood daffodil and 1 magnesium. So when you're in your travels, you'll be able to craft items, and I highly recommend that you do so. Another little trick is, if you come here, near the Legacy Council, there's always this angry bush, which I have to always laugh when I read that. It sounds funny, but in any case, if you come over to this angry bush, it will quite often recharge and you'll be able to get some angry violet, which is useful for producing various products. So you can really get quite a lot. You just come here every other day, and you've got to come to the Legacy Council often anyway. And while you're here, pick up some angry violet. So, alright, so let's actually produce something. Here you see my high elf sorcerer. She's able to produce a scroll of magic missile, and I think what I'd like is this frostburn longsword. I think that would come in quite handy. 1d8 plus 1d8 frost damage, that would be cool. And it's medium difficulty. So we'll say start crafting. And she's going to take a while to produce it, 12 hours at least. And in the meantime, we'll get this guy to produce a potion. This guy, I don't know if we really need to produce anything. By the way, on the topic of poisoned bolts and arrows, you will find quite a lot along your way anyhow. So you may not even need to produce them. You can pick them up, to be honest, along the way. And same with scrolls. You will pick up a few scrolls. Perhaps not that many as poisoned arrows, but you will pick up some scrolls. Alright, so now we need to elapse a bit of time. And here in the top right you can see Emirana is attempting to craft the Frostburn longsword.
Anything new for the possibly. Stay in the light.
So if you need primed items, you can buy them here, which is cool. So as you saw before, I was missing a few things. I could get primed breastplate, leather armor, scale, chainmail. What do we need? So this character's already got really cool half plate. She's got really nice scale armor with this sort of like blue, shiny, sort of magic looking stripes. But this character could use some... We've got prime scale mail. Actually, we've got the right armor. We just need the mithril stone, the shard of fire, the life stone, and so on. Alright, so that's not the issue. And if you have your residence, you can come here, and instead of going in the inn and spending money, we can go to our residence and pass the time. Okay, so we've crafted a potion of healing. We'll start the long rest. Okay, so you can see Emirana is attempting to craft the Frostburn longsword and she hasn't succeeded. So let's try it again. Oh, and she's done it. Great. Oh, here it is. Cool. So let's give it to this guy. And if we compare it to Arwen Merton's sword, it's actually not quite as good. So Arwen Merton's sword does 1d8 and 1d10, looks like lightning damage, whereas the Frostburn longsword does 1d8 and 1d8 frost damage. So in any case, that's what I wanted to show you all about crafting. As you can see, there's a whole range of different things you can make, and it's good fun. So I'm sure more things will come in the game later on. It's still in early access, so I'm sure the crafting of today is not going to be the crafting in the final version of the game. But in any case, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.